you have done so much with Poplin, and it's so amazing to see just the brand grow and all of that. And so I've seen recently you guys were on NBC California Live, right?
Yes, that was awesome.
Yes. And you guys have been featured on Good Morning America, The View, like all over the place, including publications. And so you guys have just gotten a lot of media attention. And I think that's something that a lot of people are curious about. Like, how do I get my brand in front of the media? And so I'm curious on how did these opportunities come about and how can like other designers get their feet into some of these things?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I really do enjoy talking about this because I do want to encourage small brands that maybe don't have a budget for, a big PR firm. You really don't need one. I definitely think if you have if you really want to do that and you don't have the time for it at all, or you don't have someone on your team who can help you in, that nitty gritty of building out a strategy, by all means. But I think I've allocated a lot of our funds and a lot of our just strategy to other departments like marketing and finance and, obviously production. So, and I come from a PR background, so I've done
Mm,
communications for other teams. So I had a little bit more of this like ability to kind of speak to it a little bit more and have an idea of what I wanted to pursue. But
yeah.
I will say if you are not, able to spend money on that, I would suggest, hiring an intern or someone part-time, building out a database of journalists, media people that you want to get in front of. And you want to really look at it as like, okay, I want to get in front of journalists, writers, people who are covering the topics that my company or my brand or my product, aligns with, that's complementary. So you don't want to pitch this to a journalist who writes about, I don't know, like AI when you're like maybe a fashion clothing company. You know what I mean? Like you want to and then you want to come up with some ideas of like what your story is. So, for example, the NBC California Live, wonderful
Hmm.
opportunity. So grateful. Layla, the TV journalist who covered it, was excited about the idea. But I really pitched it around, Hispanic heritage, being a Latina woman, small business, and just the story about that, and really wanting to offer sustainability and size inclusivity. And that, obviously was something that spoke to her, and that's how it got covered. So I really kept it in tune with what's happening right now, a
Hmm.
story that is connected to being in California and being an LA made company and things like that. So, building that database, the email, like creating that quick pitch that you can just share. You obviously don't want to inundate or, someone with too much information. They have get pitches all the time. You just really want
Yeah.
to be to the point and then yeah, see what happens. I mean, I definitely have pitched, dozens of people. You hear back from one or two, but it makes it all the worth it because you got that coverage, which can be super helpful to your business, right? It's free. It's free in the sense of like I didn't pay for that opportunity. It was a
Hmm.
organic thing, which was so great, and you want those for sure. And it really drives traffic to your website, and just
Yeah.
really helps scale those opportunities to get more eyeballs on the brand.
Yeah. And how would you say like brands can get in contact with these journalists, like find the emails? Can they go on social media or like what does that look like?
Absolutely, and that's what we do. So, like I said, I usually hire somebody to help me out with just that initial, like, data entry research. So they're going online looking at Instagram profiles, Twitter profiles. A lot of times journalists put their email out there or respond to DMs even because they are looking for their next story that, aligns with what they cover. So you can find it that way. Sometimes you go to Google, you search like, sustainable fashion and then look on the news section and you'll see all the people covering that. And then you want to look at their name and see if there's an email attached, or
Hmm.
a lot of times they do offer that. So, or they have their own blog with their own work, and typically there's like a contact page. So it's a little bit of digging, but it certainly is, the grassroots old fashioned way
Yeah.
of getting in contact.
Yeah. And you want to get in front of them. And I'm sure you've also like gotten people just reaching out to you without you even having to try, right? Like, have you had those experiences?
Exactly, that too, and that's something I when I first started was like, oh, who knows who I am?
Yeah.
But you really got to check your DMs, especially the ones that maybe there's not like already a, you follow each other.
Right, right.
Because that's where I've missed some opportunities too, where they're just,
Mhm.
hey, we saw you on, NBC and we'd love to cover you here. We'd love to involve you in this market we're doing. And
Yeah.
or, we're doing a story on that was like a women's wear daily opportunity we had
Oh,
during
wow.
COVID. They just reached out and said, "Hey, we're curious like how this is affecting, small businesses and, since you do a lot of in-person events, we'd love a quote." And so things like that, whatever it is, it could go a long way. You never know who's reading, you never know who's
Mhm.
watching. So,
So true. But you know what, Des? I think that also has a lot to do with like brand positioning. Like, I think you guys have a very clear brand story for Poplinen. Like, we know that you guys value sustainability and size inclusivity and, comfort and all these things. And so, what do you have to say about, or like, do you have any thoughts about brand positioning and creating a story around your brand? Because I think that's a lot of the reasons why, like, people are so interested. Like you said, you pitch in a certain way, why people are so interested in covering you. Not only do you guys have great clothing, because a ton of people have great clothing, right? Like there's a ton of brands that exist, but there's a reason why you continue to get these opportunities. So can you touch on like just creating a brand positioning and story that like attracts these types of things?
yeah, absolutely. I think it's really comes down to consistency and really distilling what it is. And I've had to learn this too. Trust me, in the beginning, I thought, be all things to all people. And
Yeah.
just like, no, that is just going to cost yourself before even know it. So I think you really have to like understand the problem you're trying to solve, who that's for, and put it out there in the world and see what customer you're attracting. And then through that, quickly get feedback. Do not be afraid of feedback.
Hmm.
Even myself, and initially, like I was really nervous to get feedback, and when I did, it really affected me personally. And
Hmm.
I had to realize, you know what? This is good. This is helpful. Use it. Use what is constructive and build upon that with your next iteration or
Absolutely.
whatever that is. And so I will say that helped me really understand not only what the problem we're trying to solve around, comfortable clothing that is natural and breathable for women, that feels, ultra comfortable and, is accessible for them. And I think, when we finally nailed that down and I felt very confident in not only is that our message, but we're able to deliver on that, that's when I was able to really start like sharing this in, not only a confident way, but in a way that really resonated with our customer or future customers because we had those reviews, we had a product we could stand behind. And that is what you want to build toward very quickly when you launch is really understanding that and just, really quiet out the noises of like trying to be all things or that person's
Hmm.
that. You really got to understand what you're trying to do and the problem you're trying to solve. And that will really help you um,
Yeah.
stay on that journey and get better at it. So that's, and one of the things that helped me do that is joining an accelerator or
Mm.
a group of other entrepreneurs where you're constantly having to share that story, get comfortable with it, accountability around, assignments you have to do to really understand your business model and perfect it.
Yeah. I think another thing you guys do really well too is like not only knowing that customer, but really marketing to that customer. Because even with your branding and the model selections that you choose and all of these things, it speaks to that same customer. Like I can go on your website and say, like, I know who this woman is. You know what I mean? And so I think that like that's something to keep in mind too. I feel like that brand should keep in mind. Like it should all be cohesive. Like the story is not just, the words that you say when you pitch, but like it really like the whole brand tells the story. You know what I mean? And I think
Uh,
like media and press and things like that, they can see that too, or they're drawn to that too.
Thank you. I mean, I definitely think a lot about this, of course. And for me, models from day one was always I want real beautiful women who are just beautiful inside and out and who radiate what we're trying to tell. And it's, I want to be aspirational and inspirational, but I don't want to be inaccessible. And that's always been, our thing. And so using these real women who are so wonderful inside out, like even their personalities. I just love working with these women. And sometimes we find, women, on Instagram or, word of mouth or even, influencers or, collaborators who we just befriended and we're like, you gave us UGC, but we actually think you're really great. Would you want to model for us? So
Yeah.
they come from all over, but I think it's important that your story is being told in every way possible, whether it's a model, whether it's, a blog post, whether it's a social media post, whatever, just like you said, cohesive.
Yeah, that's so good. I'm curious too, while we're still on the topic of like just these media outreach and stuff like that, just to hone in on like the importance of it, what were the results from these experiences? Did you see changes in your business? Was there like increase in sales or, following? Like what did this actually like result in for you getting these appearances?
Oh, definitely. I mean, TV is very powerful. Typically you just see, I mean, for example, Good Morning America. I mean, that helped us hit I try to have these loose goals every year of
Hmm.
doubling our growth or, tripling our growth, whatever it is. Like, and there's like the reaching for the stars goal. There's like,
Yeah.
do this is great. And, just being on TV, having them seen our clothes, mention it. I mean, people still watch TV. It's a great, like to get your brand out there. I mean, it not only we have sales and it was so amazing like what that brought to us for financial goals and revenue, but also email people subscribing to our
Wow,
email
yeah, that's so good.
growing tremendously. And they subscribe because they actually do want to follow. They do want to learn more. They do want to make like a purchase down the road. Maybe they're not ready for it that second, but they like something and they want to see more of it.
Yeah.
Um, so that was so great. And then also of course, social media, growing our audience that way in that very organic way. People eyeballs on your brand, they want to see more, they're following along the journey. So that was, those TV opportunities. I mean, wow, they really made a difference for our brand and really helped us, I think, open up doors to other opportunities.
Yeah.
I think, speaking of like, we did this accelerator with Macy's, and I think part of what helped us get in there was them seeing, wow, you really showed a lot of growth and, utilizing partnerships and opportunities with like media to to scale yourself in a unique way that's not paying for maybe, digital ads, which can be very just complicated in itself. So yeah, I will say those were very, very helpful to the growth of my brand. I'm so grateful we got those.
Yeah, and it's incredible that you did all of this without PR. Let me ask you for the Good Morning America, was that an outreach or was that an opportunity that came to you guys that they reached out to you
Yeah,
guys?
great question. It was actually an opportunity. A friend who had a small jewelry line mentioned to me this person that was sort of like a consultant. That her name's Angela, and she has a brand called Fun Brands LLC. And so
Hmm.
I had a meeting with her about kind of some goals I had. And she was like, I really think you should try for, like Good Morning America, like deals and steals. And, I have a contact there. We do it's a great opportunity, to sell your product in front of new people all across the country. I mean, it's really cool when you see an order coming from some small town in Montana. Never reached on because I feel like we're more of a coastal big city kind of brand that
Yeah, for sure.
traction.
Yeah.
So, that was really exciting. But so she helped, pitch us to the show, and the show liked what they saw, and so they picked 2 styles, and, the rest is history. But
Wow.
it was having somewhat of that, like, coach in her to kind of, help me navigate that a little bit, and then from there, the next opportunity well, that was The View, but the next opportunity was with Good Morning America, and that, I was able to pitch on my own and, do that, and now I have relationships with these shows. So
Yeah.
that's, it's sometimes just, knowing someone or someone making a warm intro that
Hmm.
really helps.
Hey, fashion entrepreneur. Did you know that at makegoodfashion.com, we've curated a library of free resources to help you uplevel your fashion business? Yep, that's right. Just head over to makegoodfashion.com and hit free resources to gain access to our selection of checklists, guides, and downloadable PDFs to help you on your fashion business journey. We have resources to help you find a manufacturer, production checklist, brand identity style guides, and much more. So make sure to head over to makegoodfashion.com or hit the link in the description to get your hands on those